Eddie Howe and Newcastle can't even get their story straight about why Isak didn't play today. I'll let you in on that in a moment. But before I do, a couple of super chats I want to just kick off with. Some of them before we even went live. This one from Laser Sharp said, will we get Ekitike and Isak? Or we will get Ekitike and Isak? I don't know if both are possible. But again tonight, a report comes out that shows that there's a number that would get Isak out of Newcastle. And will Big John pay that or not? Well, we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Craig, did you see us getting Isak and Ekitike? Honestly, as mad as this sentence sounds that I'm about to say, it's possible. And again, I'm not arrogant enough to tell you it's going to happen, but it's possible. Now, whether that's done in this one window or whether that's done over the course of the next year, sincerely, there is a belief out there that Liverpool could look to land both. Now, I know it is so far removed from what we're used to as Liverpool fans, but big old Uncle John seems to be spending freely this summer. And look, all I can say to you is that we haven't gone away. And it's still there. And the story isn't going away either. And again, I'm going to try and link it all together for you over the next 90 minutes. Said, we're so lucky to have Hughes and Edwards. We're moving good. We're moving good, my man. And I like the way that we're playing things this summer. Now, look, there's still some stuff that we're a bit nervy about as Liverpool fans. Of course, centre-back being one of them. And we'll talk about that as well tonight. But yeah, Arjun, this summer, it feels like those promises is massive and being fulfilled, which is something I haven't been on here saying many times. So all of this isn't fair on Hugo, said Eddie. But Eddie, genuinely, I don't think at this point, for what it's worth, Eddie, that Liverpool have any intention of pulling away from the Ekitike deal. I don't think this is us using him as bait. Genuinely, I think at this point, Liverpool are committed to Ekitike. So I do see him coming in one way or the other, Eddie. Honestly, I do. And what happens after that, we'll have to wait and see. But I really don't feel like we're just doing this to pull a fast one on Ekitike. I don't. I think Liverpool are so far into the process now with him that I think it'll get done. Right, so let's start off with the confusion from Eddie Howe and Newcastle about why he didn't play today. So the company line was that Alexander Isak and I think it was Joelinton perhaps were on tailored personal programs, and that's why they didn't play today in Newcastle's game against Celtic. But that line changed then when Eddie Howe was asked. He said, honestly, that the speculation around his future was distracting and he didn't want to put him in the spotlight. Now, I'm paraphrasing that a little bit, but I'll give you the actual words from Eddie Howe in one moment. But basically, Newcastle can't get their story straight. And if I'm a Newcastle fan looking at this from the outside, it must be really confusing. Now, I was looking at a post earlier on from a gentleman called Zach Lowy, who said Newcastle have now missed out on João Pedro, Matheus Cunha, James Trafford, Mark Gay, Brian Mbeumo, Liam Delap, and Hugo Ekitike. It's not going great for Newcastle this summer. And like I said when I did that tongue-in-cheek video, sincerely, that money that Newcastle could get for Isak could change that football club's future. And I know it's not easy to hear, Newcastle fans, but genuinely take the money. Because one, we're overpaying, and we are. Isak's not worth 120 to 150 in most football fans' eyes. But with the dearth of strikers available and Liverpool's insistence on trying to get him, I think that there's still a chance that that deal happens. Now, Mike McGrath has been writing about this, and he said Liverpool's interest in Isak is long-standing, but Newcastle's owners will not accept anything lower than their valuation of the 25-year-old. That figure of £150 million would be a record fee for a player at a British club. Now, you didn't hear he's not available. You didn't hear there isn't a number. You heard journalists reporting that they have a valuation of £150 million on Alexander Isak. Do we trigger that or not? I don't know. I can't tell you. But Newcastle should be really trying to get their story straight on this one, because he's either for sale or he isn't. There's either a number or there isn't. And Newcastle's flip-flop on this, although they'll say, and their fans will say, that the line has always been he's not for sale. He is. Every player has a price. And I know it's a shitty experience for Newcastle fans right now, but sensibly, I think they should take the money. Because if they had have taken the money initially, they probably could have gotten themselves Hugo Ekitike, or at least had a better opportunity to sign Hugo Ekitike. Now, while Liverpool are moving mad, signing Ekitike, and in a mad world, as deluded as this sounds, Isak's still possible. Isak and Joelinton unfit, one with squad and one not. Weird. To Dalmel Music. Yeah, it is. It's very weird, mate. And look, like I said before, the line from Newcastle is changing. You know, it's 1 minute he wasn't fit, and then the other minute it's that he didn't want him in the spotlight. Ultimately, it feels like Isak wants to leave Newcastle. And that doesn't mean he doesn't like Newcastle, he doesn't respect Newcastle's fans. None of this has ever been about that. But there needs to be a bit of self-awareness in here as well at times. And yes, he is a Newcastle player, and nobody can force the sale. But you also don't want a player in there who's feeling undermined. And Newcastle want to give him a new contract, want to up his terms, but PSR means that that's difficult for them to do at the minute. So every aspect of this is still up in the air, in my opinion. And just to get back to Eddie's one, I really don't feel like Liverpool are trying to pull a fast one here on Hugo Ekitike. I don't. And the more I read about Ekitike and his versatility, actually, the more the plan could be here to bring in two strikers. I know it's mad money, but if you move the money to the side for one moment and just think about it, if we sell Darwin, we'll have lost two strikers for different reasons. Obviously, one a tragic accident, and the other one, just didn't work out at the club. So there is space for Liverpool to get two strikers. Now, do we think there's going to be a world where Liverpool pay, let's say, £230 million for those two strikers? Well, we could recoup that money. As mad as that sounds as well, like, let's do some maths on this. If we were to sell Diaz, which it very much looks like, I don't know if there's a policy for Diogo or whatever, but I'm sure that there probably is. But even if there isn't, let's talk about Darwin. Sell him, that's 50 million quid. Sell Diaz, that's probably another 80 million quid. Sell Elliott, that's another 40 or 50 million. Very quickly there, we're up to about 180 million. And that's before we start talking about other fringe players like Tyler Morton, Costas maybe at left back. You can see 200 million quid recouped very quickly. So it's still possible. As mad as it sounds, it's still possible. Luke said, hey Craig, genuinely, do you think we get Isak? I don't know. Mate, I really don't know. But I can tell you it won't be from a want of trying. And Liverpool are still in the mix. Christchild said, Craig, can we cope buying both strikers and selling Lucho? No more purchases, just a few outgoings. Look, I would imagine if we bought in both of them, that would be the end of our business in attack, unless, the club really do have something mad up their sleeves. But it could come down to what happens with Chiesa. If Chiesa is going to stay around next season, then I think you could probably bring in two to replace three. The three being Diogo, Darwin and Diaz, obviously. It's possible. It really, really is possible. Like, we haven't... Yes, we spend a load of money early in the window, but remember, we're going to recoup a lot of money, and the recouping of money will be what allows us to go out there and splurge some more, and that's why this thing is still not dead, in my opinion, this whole chase for Isak. I think Isak will be like VVD, a January signing, said Milo Baby. Maybe. Look, I'm not sitting here trying to tell anybody we are signing Isak. I'm not, because I don't know that. But I am telling you that there's still life in this story and that it isn't going to go away anytime soon, especially if Newcastle keep fluffing their lines like they are. But here's one, right? I don't know who's watching, who's in the chat. I don't know if you're all Liverpool fans. I don't know if there's a mixture. But sincerely, what do you think happens with Isak? Whether you're a Newcastle fan, a United fan, a Chelsea fan, whoever. If you're in the chat, I want to know what you think happens with Isak, because one, Newcastle might not be able to really give him a bumper new contract. And two, again, he knows now that there's a club sniffing around that wants to be able to give him the opportunity to win a Champions League, a Premier League, and really establish himself. And he is in the prime of his career now. And I know that this feels like Newcastle are getting bullied, or we're trying to bully them. I know that that's the argument from Newcastle fans. But ultimately, it will be a record fee. It will be a god-awful amount of money that, let's be honest, he is not worth. He's not worth 130, 150 million pounds. He isn't. But we're willing to pay that. I think they should take the money. I really do.